And let me tell you today about Tsavo. Now, not Tsavo the way you know us. If you've seen our buildings, that's good. If you've lived in our apartments, that's good. If you've invested with us, that's good. But Tsavo is just not that. We are the bold who change the world. We have bold characters. We have bold Tsavorites who go beyond the measures of what is proven to be possible. And so you have seen the life of Tsavo. The last 8 years, we have shaken the world of real estate. We have gone into the market and just, made what seemed impossible possible. We have brought affordable investments here in Kenya. From as little as 30,000 a month, you can actually own an apartment within Nairobi. Who thought that could be possible? I mean, growing up, we all knew real estate ni ya wale wa juu. Sisi tunajenga ka home ownership. And so we have made that possible. We have shown you that lifestyle can be a different perspective, that you're just not letting into our apartments, but you're getting into a community where you will become something great. And of course, when we start this journey of being great and being bold who change the world, we want you to be part of it as we celebrate these 8 years of existence. We want you to be part of it. We want you to shake the boundaries and actually make things greater by being bold and be the bold who change the world. I am Martha Inyuma, and we are the bold who change the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, karibuni sana. Welcome to Tsavo. And Tsavo, we are a real estate investment company, and we're passionate about fire. And in today's webinar, we'll be talking about technology and investments. There has been a lot of ideologies around tech and a lot of misconceptions, rather. But today we'll be getting a deep dive into some of the questions around technology and investments. My name is MC Benmego, the Classic Man. I'll be your host, and today I'm joined by a gentleman here. His name, I'll allow him to introduce himself as we go ahead.
All right, my name is Alfred Miner. I am a fire partner in Tsavo, in IT, working in IT. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, you're welcome. So before we go any further, we'd like to pray, and I think you can start us off with a word of prayer.
Thank you. Lord God, we come before you this time of the evening. We want to thank you for this opportunity to have this webinar, to share what we have with our audience, oh dear Lord. We hope it's going to be successful, and we hope whatever we share will be of benefit in terms of in our lives and in our audience's lives. For in Jesus' name we do pray, trust, and believe. Amen.
Amen, amen. So, asante sana for making time.
Thank you.
This man is an IT expert. And he's also the king of dry jokes. He's the king of dad jokes. Before tuendele, patie moja. One for the road.
One for the road.
Yeah.
I have one. What do you call a computer that sings?
A computer that sings?
Yes, kuimba. What do you call a computer that sings? It's Adele.
Oh God.
Rolling in the deep.
Oh goodness. Anyway, if you're joining us, karibu sana. And today we are talking about technology and investment. And we'll be getting to understand a lot, but just to keep you updated on what is happening in our community. Today we were having a groundbreaking ceremony for Tsavo Premier. It is one of our latest projects, which is now 95% sold, thanks to you, our investors. And so without further ado, I think we'll get straight into today's conversation. And tech is really something most people don't explore, especially for people who are not tech savvy. And given that most of our investors are within the age bracket of 30 to around 54 years. Most of them have seen the evolution of technology, and maybe most of us, the way we understand technology is actually not what tech is. So maybe you can tell us what is tech?
Tech ideally has a very different definitions, and some are scary, some are simplistic, but I would like to go with a simplistic way, because ideally it is any tool that makes your life easier, any tool that makes your life easier, makes things go faster. ideally that makes your life better. So anything that you can think of, from your pen, from your book, from your phone, from your smartwatch, from these lights, from these cameras, that is technology. So ideally anything that came after creation is technology in my definition.
Anything that is a creation of man that actually helps him.
Yes.
So it's fair enough to say that a nail cutter is technology.
Yes.
Oh, even the glasses you're wearing.
Even the glasses I'm wearing. Exactly.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I think we can take a few steps back and try to look at, we have, if I were to look at a compounding curve, there has been a lot of improvement in technology, and we're living in times where it has taken so many years for people to get here where we are. Like if I'm to give an example from the Bible, I think those guys used to write like the 10 Commandments, they were written on stone.
Yeah, two tablets,
on stone tablets. Well, that was tech.
That's 5,000 years ago, yes.
But now we have tablets anyway. It's just
made of some other metal other than stone.
Yeah, so like there has been a lot of evolution to that. Maybe we can take time to really understand what has this journey been like, because now we are at where the curve is now steeping. It is going fast, like the advancements that we're seeing in technology. I think they are so much compared to the last 2,000 years, or even maybe 20,000 years.
Sure.
Yeah, so maybe you can take us through what...
Yeah, as you said, I am of that school of thought that thinks technology is just any tool. And so, think of those prehistoric men and women and what they used to ensure that, they have something, a meal to eat, a roof over their heads. So you're going back all the way to them carving out stones that give them tools, them carving out stones that are a weapon to safeguard them and to hunt, and it started all that way. And then it all went to them realizing that within the environment they do not have everything. And so whatever part of the world they are in, they know someone else in any other part of the world has what they want. And so what I think in terms of finance especially, that is exactly the birthplace, because it was based on need, based on want. And so that is where barter trade was born. Where you are ideally exchanging what you want, what you have in excess versus to get what you exactly need. And so,
maybe before we get into now the evolution on the side of, of tech and finance, I think it is interesting how before, like fire was an invention.
Sure.
We never think of fire as technology.
But right now it is. It is, and it runs quite a lot.
Yeah, and it does a lot. Like when we see, even in the Industrial Revolution, people getting to understand how machines will work, that is all tech, things that have come to make work easier.
Sure.
Even a djembe is technology, but now because we have seen all this, we assume this is actually not technology.
Yeah.
But if you were to compare how things were done before and right now how things are done, I think there has been a lot of improvement in so many ways.
Definitely. Because as I was saying, from the prehistoric times, all those stone-carved tools, and then it went to that. They call it the Agrarian Revolution, for those who are history buffs. So
I dropped history.
So maybe some of us are old enough to tell you.
Well.
So but ideally, you're talking all the way from that particular period where it was all about tools. I mean, with the invention of steam as a form of energy, that was also a huge moment. I think in the 18th century.
Yes.
Yeah, where you had steel being used to move machines, because you already now had the wheel.
Yeah.
But how do you ensure that it is not horse carriages and it is not human, but through human effort? And so it's moved on from then up to, I think a lot of what we can say has happened is within the last century.
Yeah.
Because, the start of the last century is when now we were able to, immediately after, look at it this way, you have vehicles. This is where steam energy has just been used in terms of locomotives.
Yes.
And then a few decades later, you're already having that particular locomotive in the air in terms of airplanes, courtesy of the Wright brothers. Look at it, a decade or two later, probably 3 decades later, we're on the moon.
Yeah.
We're on the moon. Look, a few decades later, here we are already exploring other planets that we may live in. Look at how that has happened in terms of that, movement. Speed limits are, just look at it in terms of numbers.
Yeah.
I'm sure telling someone in 100 years ago that they will go at 100 kph will probably be slow.
Yeah, that's...
Or will probably be unimaginable. But right now, someone who's at 100 in the very last lane of the road is a slow driver.
Yeah,
and
true.
you hoot them to leave the road.
Yeah.
So I think quite a lot has happened in that space, and it's going to continue to happen. I will just to pop a question to you. Would you rather go 100 years back or 100 years in the future?
Well, when I look at the future, I'm even scared.
Yeah.
Because of what we see in the movies.
Sure.
Especially the sci-fi movies.
Science fiction, yes.
Yeah, I think the first time, and I really don't like watching those movies because you don't want to imagine that is exactly what will happen.
Yeah.
But eventually, times will catch up with you. Because now, if people are thinking about going to the moon, the fact is that someone thought about it.
Sure.
It is interesting. There has been this very popular newspaper photo that has been going on about a lady talking about the future. I think it was in 1956, saying that I see a day when people will carry mobile phones in their pockets.
Yeah.
And it seems like, what do you mean?
What is a mobile phone?
What is a mobile phone?
Everything has to be on wire.
It has to be on, exactly. So now, looking at that and seeing the kind of fiction that we have, I am pretty sure that is achievable.
Exactly. Look at it also in terms of real estate. There is what they think the Saudi Arabian government has launched as a plan for the next few years, where they're going to launch, or where they're going to ideally construct a whole set of complex apartments in a whole line. I think it's going to be around 100 kilometers long. Look at it in the internet, it's actually called The Line, where it's a futuristic kind of construction with a whole line in the desert. Yeah, everything from your malls, from forests and levitating cars is what they are planning for in that particular line. They are already in their own groundbreaking, where we are also doing our own groundbreaking for Premier today. So yeah, quite a lot is happening.
It makes me scared, honestly. It makes me scared because
it's
I
bright
don't know
but
what
scary.
happen.
Yeah, sure.
Because now, from the movies I've watched, man, it's crazy.
Definitely.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And I think we are also in that phase where tech now is moving really fast, and we anticipate a lot of progress.
Sure.
We'll have so many inventions coming up, especially now with AI. For instance, we have now ChatGPT that people can write code in just 30 minutes, and they have launched an app. They have done ABCD. Now, it is quite scary.
Definitely. I think that generative AI has been there for the last, within this century. But I think there's huge strides have been taken within what we call that generative AI, that it's able to generate text based on ideas, generate images based on ideas, generate whole presentations based on ideas. So I think quite a lot of people have lost their jobs, or what their livelihoods. Online writers, paralegals, these things are able to do contracts by themselves. Even writers. I think what is happening right now in the States, there's been a strike among writers for the last couple of months, because the filmmakers know that I do not really need these writers when AI can do scripts for me, and
do a better job.
Exactly, and it's probably going to be error-free as it goes. So it's in that age where quite a lot is happening. Talking about the machine learning, where this is something that is learning based on information that it gathers. It gathers its own knowledge and gathers its own wisdom. That ideally is what it's all about. So what better than having technology that doesn't tire,
Yeah.
that doesn't sleep, that doesn't need food, and just runs. Yeah, very famously, and as you're saying, it's a very scary world. So much so that ChatGPT's founder, I think, allegedly walked with a backpack where
Yeah.
you can easily, has a kill switch if this particular AI, goes against humans. So it's scary, but it's bright, but it's unstoppable. Yes.
Yeah, true. The change is going to come. It is going to catch up with you whether you like it or not. And I think maybe now, because we have at least an understanding of what is actually happening in our spaces and across the world, maybe we'll take time to begin to look at technology, and now in regard to money, in regard to money. Because now, for the longest time, people never used to trade because everything was there, but then the population kept growing.
Yeah.
Now we are many. So I need maybe arrowroots, and I don't have them. But me as a Maasai, I have a few goats here and there.
Sure.
So we need to find a way on how we can do business. So maybe we can take a look at the evolution of technology in regard to finance.
Sure, certainly. We've talked about that prehistoric man who ideally was looking out for what he has, for what he can fend for his family, and what he can do to protect himself, yes? And then there's that realization of, you have a place where you're only a group of herders and you need fish. So you have to look for people, who fish.
Yes.
You want people who do proper farming, but you yourself, as you're saying, you're a fisherman. So it's in that need to get more, as you're saying, as communities are growing, and it started off with an exchange of need. That I have something that you need, and you have something that I need, and that's where people just traveled all the way to exchange, as you said, goats for arrowroots, and that's how barter trade happened. And so I think that evolved, and that made people walk around the earth. And I think that's why you'll find people of different races all over the world. Yes, and by that time it was all about needs, and so people kept on having surplus. And so I think it all went to a kind of a commodity trade, where you started valuing some things as luxury, and so you will accept that back. So you'll probably sell your goats and get something that was valuable then, like seeds, something that was valuable like mirrors. It's not something that you're going to use on a daily, but something that shows you're affluent, that you're rich, you're a luxurious person. Yes. And so that continued to happen until it started now becoming that you're able to value you're able to value things as what is actually valuable, and I think what was valuable was actually metal. That is why coins started coming into place. People will make coins based on different, how they valued metal differently. So there's a time when copper was probably the most valuable coin that you would have, until they realized, maybe scarcity is what makes something valuable. And so your golds and your silvers became the more valuable coins. And so that continued to evolve, and it started having that need of, where do I put these particular coins that I'm having? It's still all in surplus. I intend to use it at a certain time, but where can I keep it that is still safe? And that is where the banking sector came in. The banking sector came in, so where you're able to put your particular coins. And I think the exchange was a particular note that you're given saying, this is what I have in the bank. And you will go with that particular note with the bank to say, I want to withdraw this number of things. So that banking sector started off, and that was around in the mid, give or take the 15th, 14th century, somewhere around Europe. And so with that banking sector, this is what all happened, is that what do the guys in the bank do? They're not just safe deposit boxes that people are putting. And so these are people who are able to start lending out to people who do not have in exchange of, I will pay a certain debt. And so that is how the banking sector itself kind of grew up. And so from that, I think those particular forms, paper money came from that, where it was needed that we would want a form of currency that is everyone can value on. Yeah, and this paper money was actually now based on a certain particular, based on a certain particular equipment or commodity.
Yes.
So this is where people started valuing things based on gold, based on silver, based on diamonds. That I know my currency is backed on a certain particular commodity.
Yeah, and it's interesting how you will, if you had let's say X amount of gold, when you go to the bank, they'll write, I have this X amount of gold.
Yes.
So when you're trading with someone, they will take that paper with them. So if I'm buying a piece of land, you'll give that paper to them in exchange.
Yes.
So that when they go to the bank,
say, I am now the owner of this particular paper. Give me that gold that this former person had deposited. And so that is how ideally it happened. And what with governments forming and monarchies dying off, we were introduced to these fiat currencies. Fiat currencies meaning it is no longer backed on a commodity, but based on a government and what they value they think they are.
Yeah.
And this is what we currently have in terms of a shilling, very poor shilling, but we love it. Dollars, the euros, all those currencies that are backed based on that. And that's why, if you're curious, you'll find out that any political instability, any form of government interference makes a shilling value lose value or gain value, and that's a part about fiat currencies. And so we are coming to these modern times where as we come into the 20th century, we are starting to be introduced in terms of your stock exchanges, and your central banks, where people are like, now we need someone to control all these currencies or in a particular place. So that is how it's all going, all the way to this particular century that we are in, where we are now talking about contactless pay. I do not need to see that paper. I do not need to see that gold. Maybe all you need to see to show me is a certain code that shows me, I value this, and this is what we have in terms of cryptocurrencies right now, which is all based on code somewhere that is so complex, and by code, and to try and break down those terminologies, it's just a very complicated language that you and me can talk, but we're saying based on that, I am probably going to value something based on based on a certain complexity of the language that we have, and that is why you have your bitcoins that people have got value out of, which as well, just like the fiat currencies, is not based on something, but I think the benefit around it is how decentralized it is. By decentralized, I mean there's no central bank governing how its value or how it's going to be allocated, and it's all based on trust around people. It's a good form of currency, but it's also used by people with wrong intentions. As I was saying, it's not monitored by any particular person. I was saying it's continuing to evolve, and I'm sure what we have in the next decade will probably be a different form of currency. And so finance is continuing to evolve, and however much we do not want to adopt technology because of fear, or that you don't want to be left out, they're all early adopters, and the people who will be let the others take the lead and will follow. It will all catch up with us. And I think that is where we are at this particular moment.
And talking about catching up,
I
remember with the introduction of the new currency here in Kenya, people decided, no, this is scam. So I have my hundreds of thousands buried somewhere, and I can't go to exchange this note.
Yes.
Unfortunately or unfortunately, change caught up with them.
Sure. And that's how easy it is to devalue money. It's all a form of paper based on trust. I think that is what currency and finance is. It's a whole lot of trust in people. Yes.
All right. So if you're joining us, please make sure that you're dropping your fire emoji, and let's keep the conversation going. What are you learning? Let us know. And in case you have any question regarding tech and investment, before we get to understand now how does how does technology now enable you as a person on your journey to financial independence? Because the evolution really is here with us.
For sure.
Truly. And there's one thing or two, the technology that we have already. Because money is also technology.
For sure.
From the conversation that we've been having.
You said anything past what God created is technology.
What God created is technology. And so maybe we can begin to look at now, there's a lot. And talking about evolution here in Kenya in particular, you know, there's a joke that is told that when people used to barter, especially during that era of slave trade, people could, you know, they could exchange slaves for shorts. So that, like, you have shorts and you have shoes for your children and such things. I think that was value for, I don't know. Hizo familia walikuwa wanafanya hivyo, I don't know.
Yeah, if you probably do not have a family member that you liked, they are a form of currency by themselves. And so imagine your parent coming home asking you about your sibling. Then exactly.
You have to.
You're like, also, why do you have a new clothing? Yeah, for sure.
Maybe I will have 3 shorts by now.
No sibling.
No sibling.
But 3 shorts.
3 shorts.
All right.
Yeah, and here in Kenya, from the era of people sending money, like sending money in those years, people used to unaweka pesa kwa bahasha, and you had to send it either by a bus or you had to send it by
post office.
The post office.
Yeah.
And most of the time ungepata pesa yako either ilikuliwa. Mtu, you know, people used to share the PO boxes. Ama mnatumia ya kanisa. Or the school.
Yes.
And so the one who is collecting, I think they will just do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Does it have money? So they just tear it and then find a replacement for it. And we see the evolution from that. And now the banks become popular in Kenya with a lot of decentralization, because banks were only known to be in the city and you know, those areas. And we saw people began kwenda mashinani and all that. And then there came mobile money transfer.
Yes, for sure.
And it keeps getting better. There's internet banking now that you can send money. You know, kitambo we were the technology.
Yeah.
If your parent wants to send you to the shop,
you are exactly, you're the messenger.
The technology. Unaenda unasahau kitu ulikuwa umetuma. Unaenda unasema sigara kilo 5.
Na sweet ya na sukari ya subni.
You know, and now we are here. So, and we have seen a lot of evolution in that space. I want us to begin to demystify how can you use technology, especially the technology that we have. Because we talked about the notebook and the pen as technology.
For sure.
How do we use this technology, and what are the aspects that we can begin to implement this technology, especially on our financial independence journey?
Certainly. I think, as you're saying, in terms of financial independence journey, there's quite a lot that, you know, outside of technology that you need to do to ensure that you get there. Everyone has their own financial independence number, and you can't. It's a journey of a thousand miles. And so you are looking at spaces where you ideally have to budget for whatever income that you're having. You're looking for a place where you're looking for a know-how around how to track expenses. Yes. You're looking for a place around how do I ensure that I manage every single dealing that I have. You know, how do I manage my investments? You're also looking at places where how do I research around where I should probably invest. You know, at the same time, once you find out about a particular person or a particular company or a particular real estate investment opportunity, how do I do due diligence? How do I find out these people are legit? You know, we are in the age of the internet where it is so easy to fake, to fake information, so much so that you can create a fake company and people will probably, invest in it and end up, we've heard of those pyramid schemes.
Yes.
So I think in terms of budgeting, just to look at that particular aspect, there's quite a lot in terms of technology that you can use. I think the very simplest one is the Excel sheets that we have, where people are able to track and say that I know at the end of the month or every periodical time I earn this particular money, but I need to, you know, I need to invest even before I use. I need to save even before I use. So this is where I need to keep on to track my particular expenses. So I'm able to break down what I'm going to use in my lifestyle, what I'm going to pay my landlord, or what I'm going to save for as emergency funds. I need to track that. And Excel, simply put, has all those functionalities within it, but that has all continued to evolve with mobile applications that are able to do that for you.
Yes.
That are able to do that for you. You're having your own banking apps helping you to do that. While, and by that I mean you're able to track and say, I'm going to make this expenditure, but I'm going to target at under a certain amount.
Yes.
That this is probably a bill, this is probably food, this is probably entertainment. That you're able to do that, and I think by that you're able to keep track of where your money goes.
Yes.
Exactly where your excesses are, and do you need to invest more? Am I spending more than I can even afford?
Yes.
Am I living a lifestyle that I cannot even afford? So you'll continue like that, and you'll find now that there are places, there's technology around how you're able to manage your investments. So you'll find sites online, you know, and it's not, you know, mentioning them. I don't give them free advertisements, but they're there that you know, you're ideally going to manage your investment. By that, it is how much am I waiting to how much money am I going to spend by the time I start getting my dividends back? Yes. How much am I remaining to spend? Yes. Do I need to shift this focus from, you know, a high risk investment to a probably a guaranteed or low risk investment? So there's that. I think
there's talking about budgeting, even with the simplest of the tech that now we have, because something that we use every day, M-Pesa. Right now you can make a transaction like you were mentioning, and you can tag it under this.
Yes.
So whether it was transport, and you're able to know actually this is how much I've been spending.
Yes.
There's a time we started a chama with my cousins. And so one day we decided, by the way, let's go and check our statements and see how much money goes through our mobile phones.
Sure.
And man, it was shocking. People could not believe it.
Yeah.
But then we began to track these expenses and say, if you spend this amount of money, say this is the amount of money I spend under food. And now the good thing is you can begin to write a description of that transaction that you had. So if it was food, was it food to go and cook? If it is githeri, you just write githeri to go and cook.
Sure.
And then at the end of the month, you begin to see in terms of food, like where have I been spending most of my money on? Have I been eating out? Have I been, have I been cooking a lot? Because now if you look at the correlation in terms of spending and your FIRE journey, you will find that most people, there's a particular image that was created once, and it is a bucket.
Yeah.
So on your FIRE journey, you are on a journey to create wealth, and the expenditure, they are the holes that you.
Yes, exactly. That you know, you start off with probably wanting to fill that bucket.
Yes.
But all the way from the bottom, the holes that
the holes,
expenditure
every time
that are letting water out
into the bucket. And so, if your thinking is to get to financial independence, you'll never get there unless you begin to be keen. What are these holes that I have been, poking in the bucket? And with that, it begins to enlighten you on what are the things that I need to begin to focus on. And the good thing is, some of these technology, some of these apps, they can literally show you in a bar graph, they can show you in a pie chart how much you spend on what. And that is able to tell you, by the way, if this is the amount of money I've been wanting to put in investment, but I have not been doing myself justice.
Yes.
And now, given that now we have mobile money, and sometimes it's hard to monitor your own cash. I won't lie,
Yeah.
I'm very poor with
Very hard.
with having cash. So I prefer using the mobile, because every time I make a transaction, I remember, I'm supposed to register this. And I think that equips you with also a discipline that if you say it, and now the apps can also help you set a limit on the budget. So you decide, I'm going to spend this amount of money on airtime, I'm going to spend this amount of money on rent, I'm going to spend this amount of money on clothes. So if you are a spendthrift, for instance, you buy things anytime, once you begin to like, it shows you how much is remaining within your budget.
Definitely.
So that you just feel you have money. You know, when you have money, unasikianga kama you can buy everything.
Ah, my friend. Hey, the very first week. You know that analogy that very first week after payroll does its thing.
Yeah.
You eat chicken. And everything around chicken.
Parking.
Exactly.
Because right now, if people have not been paid, especially the third week of the month,
you're eating like a chicken by that.
And then you keep on saying next month. I think it's good that we begin to apply, this technology. Maybe I'll go through some of the comments even as we continue.
Certainly.
With this conversation. I can see Eric Njuguna, see Richard Oteba showing their fire emojis, see Tom, I see Cynthia Cheruto, B Jambi, Kevin Maora, Simeon Nyachati. And then Simeon Nyachati has a question. I think we'll be addressing this also later. He says that, how do you evaluate the potential and risks of a new technology or investment opportunity? Imagine the principles are the same. So we'll get to answer the question. Alicia says, is it possible to develop my own generative AI? If yes, where can I possibly find developers to do that? Finn says, dunia inasonga mbio, we should be scared of robots and then gaining more gaining more intelligence beyond man. Movies zitaniharibu.
That's where the fear is coming from.
That is where the fear is coming from.
Exactly.
Because man has thought, it's very possible.
Sure.
I also see Josephat saying, which investment opportunities are available? What technology systems is Savo currently using to make my investment so easy or seamless? These are some of the questions that we'll be getting into. But before we answer your questions, I think we can carry on with the conversation about now, how do you use now technology to enable you to get to fire?
I think for me, as you're saying, I was huge on adopting these financial applications whereby you're able to tag, and I'm able to be able to tag on that. I have a very huge guilty conscience, so I'm able to know that I am overspending on entertainment, and I need to do better in this particular place. You know, you're able to budget and say that by the end of the year, which is a few months away, this is what I want to be able to do, and if I'm able to be fiscally disciplined, I will get there. So you have applications that are able to tell you that you're about to spend more. You've already spent more than what you budgeted for based on these particular transactions. And they're saying I think as of right now, if you're banking with an institution whose applications on online banking applications are not able to help you keep track of your finances, achana na wao. Achana na wao. We as we're saying, it's a scary place in terms of technology, but it's how you use it. And they're actually very, very, very helpful ways. I think we're talking about due diligence, especially. Yes. That you're able to look at. I think it's also based on a question where someone was asking, how do you use technology to ensure that you invest in the right places?
Yes.
The internet is a very, very huge place, both good and bad and ugly. But I'm going to look at it in terms of the good, whereby you're able to research about give or take. Let's sample Savo. That you're able to see how is their social media presence? Is it something that someone has come up with? How are they on terms of the reviews? Are these legitimate reviews from people? Are they internet bots? And by bots, I mean those applications that are able to answer as if they're genuine human beings, but ideally they're not. You're able to track and see, is this a company that is in the media, with bad publicity, or is it in good publicity? As we're saying, we as Savo, for example, we are always putting out what we have out there, and we're always ensuring and advocating and promoting for anyone that will want to invest with us and also live with us to do due diligence with what, how we go about our things.
Yes.
As we're saying right now, we've just groundbroken Savo Premier, which is our latest baby, and I'm sure that the 95% of investors who in Savo Premier did their due diligence to realize, in as much as this is only that they bought way before groundbreaking, is based on them probably using the internet and using their sources to ensure that they know my money is safe with this particular company, and the money is safe with us. So I think in that sense, there's so much that you can do with technology in that particular sense to ensure that you're investing in the right place. You know where your money is, and in that way. I think ideally also it's we've had cases around fraud, cyber fraud, and by that I mean instances where you hear of banks and circles where money has been lost, and you don't want to feel unsafe in that particular sense. So it's also good, as you're saying, using you just use your internet, because that is what connects you to the rest of the world, to ensure that whatever you're banking, whatever you're investing in, is also a secure place where your money is safe and it's going to work for you.
Wonderful. I'm loving this conversation, and it's quite interesting when we talk about due diligence. Right now, you don't have the time to go and find out where are the offices. Well, before, people have been, watu wameoshwa pesa.
Sure.
And you can tell where the office is. You can tell whether the projects are legit, because now you can go to the Google map. If you're told, we have this project in Roysambu. You just go to the internet, Google Maps, search Royal Suburbs by Savo, and then you're able to see, is this a legitimate thing?
Exactly.
And if you need to get there, you don't need someone to take you there.
Yeah.
Because now you know exactly where to go.
Yeah.
If we are looking at, if you want to know about the directors, to know about the company, there's a lot of information, and maybe we have never thanked YouTube, but asante sana YouTube.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube.
And all these other social media platforms, because now with the information that we have to share about these projects, with such information that we have to share, if one wants to do their due diligence to know who are the founders, who are these people who work in Savo, it becomes easier for them to actually become acquainted with such. And I see time is far gone, but there's a lot we need to look into, because now with the whole conversation about investments being scary, everyone raises their eyebrows when they tend to think about the dangers of technology. And now there's also a conversation that we should have and dig into it on how Savo is actually adopting technology. As someone had asked, I think it was Josfat who had asked, how is Savo currently adopting to technology?
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll be having a series of episodes to really tackle these things in depth. And I invite you, make sure, Josfat, that you join us in our next live webinar, because we'll be getting to understand what are some of the dangers of using technology. We have said this maybe are the good things that you can use tech for, but next week we'll be getting deeper to understand what are the goods and now what are the dangers of it. And then we'll be getting to look at how Savo is actually using technology to make your investment more secure, and also to ensure that we are making our apartments more affordable, more amazing apartments.
For sure.
Yeah. So Alfred, what are your parting words?
I think, as you're saying, technology is there to stay. You can't run away from it, and it's not a scary thing. I am not from that school of thought, and anything, as you're saying, that will help you, that you've had, will make your life easier, is a simple search away, is a simple understanding away, and anyone can use technology. Anyone can use technology to be able to ensure that their finances are in check, the investments are in check, and they're also secure, which I think we'll delve in quite a lot in the next live webinar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Asante sana. It was so real having you in the show.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, looking forward to next week.
Yeah.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, I see there's a question here, and please make sure that you join us. Erika Mnagwi saying, is Savo planning to create an investment tracker? Not necessarily one for buying apartments, but beyond that, something that anyone can use to track the steps towards financial goals. Now, please make sure that you stay tuned and you don't miss any of our webinars, because we'll be answering some of these questions. And of course, with our IT expert here, there are so many other questions and some of the things that we are planning to adapt at Savo that we'll be bringing to you. So it has been real, and thank you so much for joining us. Just a reminder, we'll be launching a new project. A new project is coming soon. It is around the corner. So stay tuned. I'm pretty sure if you haven't also subscribed to our site updates every single Saturday. This is part of what Alfred was talking about due diligence. And now we have photos you can access. You can see the progress of the project. We have emails going out every weekend. And so you can subscribe to the site updates. And also we have a lot going on around our community. And for our residents who live here, we have a mental health event which is called Rafiki Moments, where people get to share about their experiences in life. And if you like to be part of it, a link will be shared in the description below. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Have a lovely night and God bless you.
When we started this business model, we naturally were a bit shy to get into town. So we started building our buildings in areas that were off. Our first project was in Rongai, Mbakasi, Thindigwa. But as we did a bit more, we gained a little more confidence. And I think in 2020, we came close and went to Ngong Road, Wanye Road. That was the closest to any major center. And when our investors and residents saw that we could, come near, they began to demand a little more. You see, at the beginning, we were being compared with other developments. But as time went by, our residents started comparing us with our previous projects. So people are becoming a bit more discerning. They're asking for more, and they're asking for better locations. Now, we divided Nairobi into two zones, Zone A and Zone B. So Zone A is where we have most of our projects, in the periphery of the city. That is Zone A, because that's where most of our work is. Zone B is right at the center, CBD, Parklands, Westlands, Nairobi West, that kind of thing. And for about 2-3 years now, I've been really resisting going into Zone B, asking myself, is the land price worth it? Is the more demanding city bylaws, are they worth it? But I think getting feedback from our investors, getting feedback from residents and future residents, studying the trends of those areas, showed us that it was. And now 8 years later, interesting that for 8 years, Savo City has never had a building in the city center. We have had buildings near the city, but never in the city. But it's an exciting time that as we celebrate 8 years, we are taking our first project right at the center of things. And this is Premier, Savo Premier. A wonderful, wonderful project. It's the closest to the center that we have ever had. It's in Parklands, right opposite the Nairobi University School of Law. Walking distance from town, walking distance from Westlands, surrounded by universities and working areas. I mean, it's by far the most superior location that we have ever had. And we think just that location alone answers the questions that people have been asking. Can we get better? Can Savo be more refined? There's something I always like to post, that affordable doesn't mean cheap. You know, why just because it's affordable doesn't mean that it has to be so far away. And we have put up this building. The location is first class. The design is something else. I think of all our buildings, it really, really stands out as very, very elegant. The tallest building by far, ground plus 17 floors with a rooftop right at the top. So in terms of amenities and facilities and the design and the elegance and the location, these are things, and it's not for everyone. It's not every resident who will afford there, but there are some residents who just like to have their convenience. There are some Airbnb visitors who want to be right at the center. They don't want to get off. They want to feel like I'm in the hotel next door. There are students who, instead of staying in a hostel, want to stay in a place that is much better with better rents. So we have this thing that will cater for the working professional, it will cater for the student, it will cater for the short stay person. So very versatile in terms of function, very elegant in terms of design, super central in terms of location. And that's what makes Tsavo Premier so exciting. So we are really grateful to God for allowing us to do this thing. For us, only 8 years of existence and about 6.5 years of this business model, to have the courage and confidence to go right at the center, to put up a big building in the center of the city, that for us is something that we are really grateful for. We did not, we had dreams at the beginning, obviously, but in all honesty, I did not have the imagination that would be right there with the big boys. And now we are playing in the bigger leagues. And we are so grateful to our investors because you have told us that's what you want. I remember when we did the Ngong Road, when we did Wanye Road, people were like, finally, a location I can relate with. You know, finally, a place I know. So Parklands, I think anybody has known Parklands from the time they were children, and you have always wanted. And you're saying, we will take affordable, super exclusive affordable into the center of the city. And that's what Premier is doing. And so I'm so excited to launch this project, Tsavo Premier, in this month of August of 2023. And we really, we are confident, we are really confident that it will sell well, it will sell fast. And more importantly, we believe it will let very, very fast, because by far, we have had very good projects. We have had amazing projects, but this is by far our most exclusive and most amazing project. So thank you very much. We hope to see you there. We hope to see you joining the family. If you're part of the family, reinvest, refer, bring other people, and let's Tsavo grow as we take you all towards financial independence. Thank you very much. When we started this business model, we naturally were a bit shy to get into town. So we started them